Return, hands down by Mariana Sabata. If you watched a few vlogs ago, I went to the Boston Public Library to check out this book, and now I have to return it. I'm currently reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I'm liking it so far. I'm a little over halfway through. I'm about 70% of the way through according to Goodreads, and my honest opinion has to be that it's really reminding me how much I love historical fiction. The only gripe that I have with it is that it has a lot of like sexual innuendos and like LGBT representation. About 75% of the characters are in the LGBTQIA plus community, whatever alphabet letters you want to include in there too. But just like as a Christian, I don't agree with that kind of stuff, so that's the only thing that's really bothering me about this book. It's probably looking like a 4-star right now just because of the sexual stuff and like the LGBT stuff. Otherwise it would be a 5-star for me. It's like giving me that feeling, but like that other stuff is just gonna probably bump it down a star. Station, which is in Boston. Now I'm going to take the Green Line to head over to the Boston Public Library. I don't believe it's open just yet. It's about 10 a.m. here in Boston right now, and it doesn't open until 11. It says it will take me about 15 minutes by subway to get to the Boston Public Library. It's on Boylston Street, so I'm hoping that there's some shops open that I can go and look around while I'm there before the library officially opens, or maybe there's like a drop slot, one of those types of things where I can just like put my borrowed book in to return it, so we'll see. Here at the Boston Public Library, and apparently there are some drop boxes here. I found on Reddit that there are drop boxes here for me to return my book without the actual library being open. Apparently they're somewhere around here, so I'm gonna try to find where those are. Even like the subways gave me anxiety because I think I've mentioned in previous videos, like I am so not a city person. Like I am very small town type of a girl, so this all gives me anxiety, so I'm gonna try to find these drop boxes right now. Please pray for me because it gives me anxiety. So I'm glad I was able to find this returns drop box for the Boston Public Library. So apparently there's 2 sections to the Boston Public Library. There's like the McKim building, which is like the original Boston Public Library building. It's very historic. It is technically, the address is on Boylston Street, but the main entrance to the old building is on Dartmouth. But this new facade of the Boston Public Library, which is connected to like the old library building, it's called the Johnson building. So the McKim, like I said before, is like the old library, but it's also connected to the new library facade, which is called the Johnson building. And the front entrance of the Johnson building is on Boylston, and the old building is on Dartmouth. So like, I know that's a little bit confusing, but this specific return drop box is on the facade of the new part of the library on Boylston Street. So if you're ever confused of like where you can return books like on their off hours, you can definitely bring it by this return drop box on Boylston Street, connected to the Johnson building, which is like the new building for the Boston Public Library. Don't go on Dartmouth Street to the McKim building because they will turn you away. Security will do that. That's what happened to me, and I had to ask him like where the return drop box is. He directed me to over here, and I was able to do that easily. I am so glad that I found the drop box here, because now I don't have to worry about waiting another like half an hour to an hour to like actually physically go in and like return the book. Now I can like go explore Boston now. Even though I'm like starting to get hangry right now, it still is only like 10:30 in the morning. I do wake up usually around like 4:35 a.m. Just for one, like my brain wakes me up at that time, and then I also have a cat who like wakes me up at that time as well, just for me to feed her. So when I eat breakfast, it's pretty early, so by like 10:30 I'm like starving. But usually, you know, lunch places don't tend to open until like 11 or 11:30. I really want to go to Cava because Cava is around here, but they don't open until like 10:45, 11, and it's still a little bit too early to go over there and eat there. So I'm gonna go to like the parallel street over from Boylston. It's called Newbury Street. It's like a really popular street in Boston for shopping, and they have a really cool bookstore called Trident Books, which I've been to before, but I don't think I've shown it on the vlog before. So I'm gonna go over there now, and you're gonna follow along. A book. I told myself that I was just gonna come in here and like browse, but like there's so many things on my TBR that's not on my physical TBR, but just like on my Goodreads like want to read list, if that makes sense. But like now that I'm here, I'm like, do I need these? Do I not need these? Like maybe I can just check them out from the library to save myself some money. But at the same time, I'm also like, well, I need the second book to this series, even though I haven't even read the first one. Like, for example, I have the first book in A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I have the first book in the L.C. Silver Chestnut Springs series. And I'm like, wait, I need to get the rest of the series. But, like, truth be told, like, I actually don't need the rest of those series. Just, like, let's give the first book a try, Katharine, okay? Like, see if you like the first book, and then if you like the first book, let's buy the rest of the series, okay? Like, I don't know why, like, I'm like this, or if I'm in a bookstore that I need to buy a book. So another reason why I'm really hesitant about buying anything today from here is because I just been really disappointed with suggestions from, like, the Book Talk and Bookstagram and BookTube community. I am slowly turning my eyes to Christian fiction because I feel like those would be more clean and like more in the realm of like what I believe. I feel like a lot of the books that I've been reading don't have like a lot of depth to them, and they sometimes have like LGBTQIA, the rest of the alphabet plus representation, and that's just not something I agree with, that I've said in the beginning of this video. And a lot of spicy scenes, like just like not good books in general. And I'm just really learning to distrust like what's recommended to me on like the mainstream Book Talk, Bookstagram, BookTube community. I had started to follow some like Christian fiction booktube people and bookstagram and book talk people, which is great because I've been getting good recommendations, but at places like this they don't have a lot of Christian fiction. If y'all have any Christian fiction recommendations for me in terms of books, please let me know because I am in desperate need of some. I also just unhauled a bunch of books. You can see that in a video that I've done in the past, and I now have really empty bookshelves, so it's really tempting not to buy some books here, but that's all the reason more of why I need Christian book recommendations, so I can fill up my bookshelves. I'm only going to be reading Christian fiction books from now on. I think after reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I'm going to finish in the next couple days, I'm just going to read Christian fiction, like I said. I just can't trust like regular adult fiction anymore, just because of like language in the like sexual content that even goes into like LGBTQIA plus whatever else of the alphabet you want to put in there. And like personally, it's not because like I judge those people who do read those types of books or like people in those communities, but it's just like the fact that me as a Christian, I feel really convicted about reading those types of books. I have struggled with sexual sin in the past, so for me, reading about spicy scenes in books, it really triggers a lot of that in me. So like, I really don't want to tempt myself and like put myself in a situation where it will tempt me. So I don't think I will read any adult secular books anytime in the future unless like it is explicitly explained to me that it doesn't have any like cursing or spicy scenes or like LGBTQIA plus content in it, just because like I'm really sick of it. Like I'm really sick of like all of these books that are recommended to me that don't have like a ton of depth, and like the only depth that they have to them is like the spicy scenes or the explicit language, like the cursing and stuff, or like the LGBTQIA plus whatever letters of the alphabet that you want to add to it now, like content. Like I feel like the only depth that it does have is to publicize and capitalize on those things. Like other than that, like the characters don't have any personalities, the plot isn't giving. Like I just feel like a lot of these adult fiction books that are being pushed out and hyped up are just like not doing it for me, and I've been really disappointed. The last couple years that I've been trying to read these like hyped up book talk, bookstagram, booktube books, like I just feel like have been getting like 2 and 3 stars from me with like an occasional 4-star, but I haven't given any of these recommended books a 5-star yet. And that's really surprising because I have read about like say like 20 or 25 books from, you know, that book community from all social platforms, maybe even more. But like if I've read at least 20 or 25, you think that there'd be at least one 5-star? But I think I'm gonna probably stick to like young adult books if I were to stick with secular fiction. That's why I'm up here in the young adult section right now, just because I feel like with young adult secular fiction, at least like I can be almost guaranteed that there won't be any spicy scenes or like explicit language like cursing and stuff. So like hopefully that won't be the case when I pick up like secular young adult fiction. But like hopefully I can get to reading more like Christian fiction in the future, and I can avoid those types of content entirely. I've noticed that some young adult fiction has included like some spicy scenes or like some LGBT representation, and I'm like, why is that even in young adult books? But like, yeah, let me see if I can start reading more Christian fiction from now on. But yeah, with that little rant, I think I'm gonna head out of here without buying a book just because I'm feeling pretty convicted being in here. Like, I feel like God's really speaking to me in this bookstore to, you know, like, stop reading secular fiction unless, like, I really, really know that it's, like, clean all around. So I'm gonna head out of here. They're also like super like LGBTQIA plus whatever else you want to put in the alphabet in there, friendly in here, and I just think that that's part of the reason why God's speaking to me through this bookstore is like He's really showing me like these are not the books that you should be reading, and this is definitely not the bookstore that you should be shopping in. Also, like, they have a cafe in here and it's super busy and loud here. It's also a Sunday, so just goes to show that I should probably head out of here and get to Kava so I can eat some lunch. Granted, one compliment that I can give here is that it is super cute, like, look at these stairs, but I'm just gonna head out of here and get to Kava. Behind me, as you can see, there's like a little line that you can go through. It almost reminds me of like Chipotle or Sweetgreen, more so Sweetgreen, where it's like more of a healthier version. And I would say this is more like Mediterranean style of like a Sweetgreen. So essentially got like romaine lettuce, I got some brown rice, and I got some mixture of like veggies and hummus and tzatziki on top. And it looks really good. I also got some lamb in there too. I love lamb. And then I got their strawberry citrus lemonade. I believe that's what it is. It's pretty good. It definitely tastes strawberry and citrusy. It doesn't feel like it's, or it doesn't taste like it's artificially sweetened, which is always good. But yeah, I'm gonna eat this. It looks really delicious. It was super expensive though. It was like $23, but I think that's because I added a bunch of things to it. But yeah, my order at Sweetgreen usually comes out to be that price too because I do like a bunch of add-ons and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm really excited to dig in here. It looks delicious. I also got some pita chips too. These pita chips, so good. And honestly, just from the few bites that I've had so far, I'm like no food critic whatsoever by any means, but like this is already better than Sweetgreen to me. So I was able to walk about a half mile from Kava to the Boston Public Gardens, and I just planned on reading here for a little bit because first of all, I wanted to walk off the food that I just ate. It made me literally so full. I'm still literally bloated from eating all of that food. It was really good, and I honestly think I prefer it over Sweetgreen or like Chipotle. It's like a healthier version of Chipotle, and it is very comparable to Sweetgreen, but it's like a more Mediterranean style of Sweetgreen, like I was saying before. But yeah, I'm really glad that I'm here. It's so pretty here and so relaxing. I'm gonna read a little bit of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Like I was saying before, I'm really enjoying the book, and it's definitely reminding me that I love historical fiction, and I probably want from now on to read Christian historical fiction, just because like what I've noticed is like in these secular books they have a lot of like spicy slash sexual slash like LGBT stuff in it, and I just don't enjoy that. But yeah, like 75% of the book I'm enjoying, except for like those other like 25% of the parts of this book. But yeah, I'm probably gonna give it a 4-star at this point. It would be like a 5-star if it was not having those other things in it, but like it does, unfortunately. And I'm probably not gonna read any more of the E. Schwab's books. I mean, I would love to, but like if her most popular book is like this, I'm assuming like all of her other books are gonna be like this, and I just don't want to inflict that kind of uncomfortability on myself while reading. So I'm just gonna continue to read this. I'm almost done. Like I said, for my last update of this book, I'm about 70% of the way through, but I read a little bit on the train, so I'm about 75% of the way through the book. I honestly probably have like about 100 pages left. It's like a 450-ish page book. So I'm gonna read some more. I can't guarantee that I'll finish it here at the public gardens, but I'm probably gonna finish it by either tomorrow or the next day. We'll see. So as you just saw, I went to the Beacon Hill Cafe and Bookstore. On the very, very bottom floor is the cafe, and then on the first, second, and third floor is like the bookstore, if that makes sense. I didn't end up going to the cafe because, for one, if I had caffeine after like noontime, I would be up all night. And secondly, I'm still full from kava earlier. And then the bookstore was really pretty. It was just as I imagined it, but it was so busy. Also, like I mentioned before, I'm trying to stay away from secular books and only buying Christian books. So I didn't buy anything today, but it was really cool to experience it. So now I'm just walking through Beacon Hill right now, which is a neighborhood in Boston, hence why I just visited the Beacon Hill bookstore and cafe. So it's just a short walk over to the North End, which is like the Italian section of Boston. And I mentioned in my last vlog, I think 1 or 2 vlogs ago, of like my weekend in my life, I went to Boston, and it's like a tradition for me to get a cannoli from Mike's Pastry. Specifically, they have this Florentine one that's so delicious, so I'm gonna head there now and get that because it's delicious, and then I'm probably gonna head home. Also, Beacon Hill along with the North End are 2 of my favorite places in all of Boston. Just like, look at the architecture of these houses. Literally just all brick, very old style. Like, I feel like I'm being transported back to like revolutionary times. And it's the same way in the North End. I feel like I'm in Italy in the North End. Everything is brick in the North End, but it still feels very European. But it's just so hard to give these places justice of how beautiful they are just on camera. I have taken some B-roll of like how pretty it is here, but like you actually have to come here to actually appreciate how beautiful it is here. I never appreciated it so much until I moved back home after COVID. I was living out in Florida and California, and like it didn't take me until I was home or forced to move home after COVID for me to like fully appreciate it, like where I'm from. and how beautiful it is. I always used to complain and I felt like I was like running away to an extent, like living so far away, and now that I'm home I'm like, wait, actually where I'm from is like really beautiful, and like I've come to appreciate the 4 seasons. Maybe not as like harsh as like the New England winters are. Like maybe if New England can dumb down on winter a little bit, that would be great, but like overall I like the 4 seasons and I think they're very beautiful. I think I sat here the last time I came to Boston with you guys, and I sat in this exact spot. But honestly, this is like my favorite spot to like eat a cannoli in Boston. It's like right in front of the North Church where like Paul Revere put like the lanterns. They have this huge like courtyard with a fountain in front that is like super secluded, and like there's people here, but like it's so spread out that like I can probably find a bench anywhere and like feel like I'm the only one here. But I have my Mike's Pastries cannoli. I usually get the Florentine. I got that last time on the vlog. I usually get it every single time, but I thought to change it up because I just wanted to change, and they had like a seasonal menu, and one of them was pumpkin spice. I know, very basic. I actually haven't got a pumpkin spice latte yet this season, but I plan on doing so soon. But let's get into this cannoli because this looks really good actually. This looks delicious. It's very messy though, but it's really good. I obviously still prefer the Florentine cannoli because it's like a candied shell with like the regular ricotta filling with chocolate chips on the outside. I don't know how to describe it other than it being like a candied shell, but yeah, it's so delicious. But this is still good. You know, it's fall now, and I was in the mood for something pumpkin, so they had pumpkin spice, and here we are. Now that I'm covered in like powdered sugar from the cannoli, I'm gonna wait for the 4:30 train back to my hometown, which is in about 2 hours. And in the meantime, I'm probably gonna go to one last bookstore. It'll be my 3rd and last bookstore of the day. It's called I Am Books, and it says it's about like a 4-minute walk away. So let's go do that. About like 45 minutes until my train boards, but I thought I'd be here a little bit early just for the heck of it. But I got a couple things from that bookstore that I just went to called I Am Books. None of it being books, by the way, that I bought. It's just 2 bookmarks. One is like a bouquet of flowers, and then one is like supposed to be like a library checkout card, one of those. And then they also gave me like this free one just with their name on it called I Am Books, established in 2015. But yeah, I went to 3 bookstores today, but of course I got no books. I got pretty overwhelmed in all of them, to be honest. I don't do well with like crowds, and like I just get really overstimulated. That's why I'm like not really a city person in general too. Like the cities just like make me super overwhelmed and overstimulated. That's why I'm such a small town girl, and I can't wait to get back to Rockport. But thank you for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. Do all the YouTube things that you know how to do. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.